Okay, so today we're going to look at how to have JavaScript code in one file, and how essentially do we export that and use it into another file, So Ricardo's already talked about this quite a bit with modules, ES6 modules, and then on the back end for Express, looking at common JS modules, different syntax. Yeah, so rather than import and export, we use these require statements for our imports, and then we use module.export on the file that we want to export. So the most obvious use you've seen so far in your projects is when we created a list of shows on the back end. So I haven't done a whole list of shows here, but you will still get the idea, hopefully. So we created a separate function just to store our show data. So we're returning that as an array of objects. Yeah, in this case I've only got one object with an ID, a title, and a synopsis. So to begin with, you might have just had a plain old JavaScript function in a file like that. Yeah. So the first step on the back end, what is the syntax I would use? So the node syntax. So Porek said export default. So that works on our front end in our React applications, yeah, on our UI, but that's not currently how we write import and export statements for modules in the node environment. So on the back end it uses a different syntax. There was yeah. So this is ES6 syntax, ES6 module syntax, export default, and then the import from syntax, yeah. But because we're on the back end working in a node environment, we're going to use, what did you say, guys? Module.exports, yeah? And just that, do I need a default or equals? Yeah, okay, cool. Like that, yeah? So that has now made this file available throughout our project, or our back-end code, yeah? So on the it's already there. On the other end, so we've exported it. Let's say I want to use that shows file or the function within that shows file inside of my server.js here. How would I do that? Yep, so we can assign it to a variable, and let's just call it shows for now. And we set that equal to what? Yeah, we use the require syntax, yeah? So import, export, or module.export and require. Those are our two syntaxes we're required to remember. Hopefully in the fairly near future, node will just be set to the import, export syntax as well, and then you don't have to remember to. But for now, we've still got to remember both. So I'm requiring, and I need to set the path to this file, and that's currently just in the same folder as my server. So what's my first little bit of my path going to be? Just shows. So it just finds it from shows like that. In a string. Yeah. So we need to set a path, yeah? So the reason why we don't have to do it up here for Express is because Express is our package, right? The Express package, the Express framework, whereas it's not pointed to any particular file, yeah? Whereas we have created the shows file, so we need to say this shows file is in the same directory as our server, so we do the // and then shows. If instead shows was outside, just in the source folder, then we'd need, well, it's changed it for me, right? Because I've got that automatic set up, but we'd need the .. shows, yeah, the double dot references up one level. So anyway, I'll put it back, if I can find it again. I've just dropped it somewhere. Hopefully that's the same one. Must be, right? Stick it back in there. Nope, that didn't work. One more time. Beautiful. Okay. So at the moment we have exported a JavaScript function, we've imported it, but we haven't used it in any way. So it's grayed out at the moment, yeah? If I want to invoke that function when someone makes a call to REST shows, how would I do that? What's my second argument going to be? Yeah, so let's set up a route handler here on my back end. So we can have a request and a response object. What do we do with those? Well, let's send something back to them when they make that request. And what are we sending back? What happens if I just send back shows like that? So I've referenced this variable. Should we have a look? Let's run the app and see what happens. npm, does it start on this one? Don't think so. Got a different script. Let's double check. Oh, in fact, let's just run it with Node for now. So we've got Node source / backend / server, right? Server.js. Cool. That should be now listening. If I go to my localhost 3001. Cool. And this was a guy from the old evening class, which is why his name is there. Hello, Williams. We can clearly see that that is what we're sending back when we are on the route, or the route. So if instead we go to REST shows, what is going to get returned at the moment, guys? I'll just show you that code again. So that's what I'm sending back at the moment. I'm just sending back my variable shows. And shows is this file, right? So what's going to get sent back? Will it be an array? Will it be an object?
Did we call the function?
So we haven't called the function yet. Yeah, Rich has noticed we haven't called the function yet. So it's going to try and send a function over the network. So let's see. And nothing gets displayed. That may be because it doesn't know how to display a function. Let's have a look, see if we're just actually sending anything. So let's send shows as a string just to check that that route is working. No. So what's going on now then? Okay, so /rest /shows /rest /shows res.send. Oh, is that because I've made changes and I haven't restarted the server, isn't it? Of course. Okay. Once more. Okay, yep, working. So just be aware, obviously, when you're not using a hot server, when you're just running Node, then you do need to stop and start the server again. So let's try that once more. If we make that change, and we just send back shows, we're expecting just to send a function back. Am I running it? I'm not running it. No. Running it now. Yeah, cool. So it can't even display it. So as Richard quite correctly said, we need to make sure we invoke any functions. Yeah, if we want to actually run the code that is inside these external files, we must invoke them if they're set as a function. So doing that now. And we get back our array there. Array of objects. Does that look a little bit different to what you see usually? Yeah? So all that is, I think I've got an extension installed just to make it easier to read JSON data. So if you work with APIs a lot, you might want to prettify it or make it prettier, beautify it, whatever they call it. So this one, I think, is just a JSON formatter extension for Chrome. So I think that's all that is. Yeah? Yeah, that's what I've got installed. So if you wanted to install an extension, if you're working with API data, then that one's quite popular. As you can see, nearly 5 stars. There are others. Just if you're dealing with streams and streams of data and it all looks the same color and it's all in one line, and it can be really hard to work with. So you might want to install that as an extension. Yeah, and it looks a bit easier to read. All right, so any questions on that process? Because you'll do it time and time again. Or should we have a go at getting Vince's game to work? Yeah, no questions? That's all right, Inez, yeah? So you've done that now, right, in CodeFlix. So. But that was all your original question was on Monday, was about doing that sort of stuff, or it was something different?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily on the back-end stuff.
Wasn't necessarily on the back end, but it was still have an external JavaScript file and import it and run it, yeah? So be exactly the same on the front end, apart from rather than a require, you'll use a import, right? Okay, so we're probably going to see it on the front end now because we'll run Vince's game on the front end. Yeah, so let's have a look at the game itself in question first. So it's called Wheel of Success. It's similar to that Wheel of Fortune TV program. So we can click the Start Game button, and we're given a sentence or a word or a phrase or whatever they used to call it, and we're given the alphabetical letters down here. So someone give me a letter, any letter?
C.
C, yeah, so if I click C, if C is not present in that phrase, it deducts a life. If it is, it should fill in the C's in that phrase, yeah? You remember this game? Yeah, cool. S, no, any other? G for genius. Hey!
Yeah.
Any others?
E.
E? Oh, we can pick vowels in this. This is quite good. Usually you had to pay for the vowels, didn't you? Remember that game? You had to pay for the vowels because they were more common. Okay, yeah. Anything else? Vowel, please. Which one? I, O? I? No. 2 lives left. It's getting tense.
Oh my goodness.
A? Oh, nice one. So something A, egg at the end. What do we think that's going to be? This is English, right? Because I'm going to struggle if it's not in the English language.
I'll give you a clue. Come on, B. Come on.
B?
It's a phrase, by the way, guys.
Oh.
Break.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. So Porrick's got it as well, yeah? Break a leg. So I guess we have to just pick all the letters, right, to win. K, L. Woo! You're a genius. We have to change the message. Cool. Yeah, so that's the game, right? You get it. And Vince has just developed that, or followed the tutorial to develop that from Treehouse in plain old HTML.
There's no tutorial, actually.
There was no tutorial. Really?
Obviously, they'll provide you, like classes and all that.
Yeah.
You have to figure out yourself how to do this game.
Ah, even better. So, yeah, you had the idea. They gave you some of the building blocks or ideas, perhaps, and then you managed to put it all together. So very, very good. So that is currently just written like this. This is the source code for it. We have an index HTML file. Yeah, plain old HTML, not too long, 50 lines or so. And then we have an app.js file, which is essentially the whole game. Yeah, the whole game is stored in here, minus the assets, so minus the images and the styles. And that's, I don't know what, like 150 lines long, so still pretty reasonable. And if I've got that, of course, I could import it as a script tag in a HTML page, right? That's probably what you're doing somewhere. Yeah. So there's his script tag. Yeah. So that used to be how we got external JavaScript files into HTML. With React, we've obviously only got one page, and we might not want to load everything straight away. So instead we can stick it in component and then only load it when necessary. So I just want to talk through the process really. If we've just got something you've previously developed in JavaScript and HTML, how do we Reactify it? How do we get it so that it works in React? I make up words constantly, in case you didn't know. Yeah, so it's not too bad. We've not got too many files to import. So we're going to use someone else's. Let's just get rid of all running servers for now. We're going to use someone else's portfolio just to chuck it at the bottom of that. So they did something similar with a Tetris game. And if I just run that now, we should see at the bottom of their page, ignore the cats, there's a work in progress obviously for this guy, and we should just see that there's a little simplified Tetris game going on, and the controls, we've got W, A, S and D, right? So I can move it around, rotate it obviously if it's another shape, and just put it to the bottom. Oh, we're getting lots of squares at the moment. You know, you remember Tetris as well, right? This is just going to be a tutorial of me playing games, if that's okay with everyone. So we can actually rotate the blocks as well, you know, that sort of stuff. Huh? Very good. Yeah, anyway, you get the idea, right? So he's managed to incorporate that, and we're just going to stick Vince's game below this game, essentially, yeah? Right, so I'm hoping that firstly we can just copy these assets over to another window. If not, I'll do it different way. We don't need the codeflix file anymore, so I'll get rid of that. And if I just paste these, will it let me maybe drag and drop? Let's see. Where's my window gone? Not going to open up for me. Okay, all right. Okay, I think it's going to let me any name conflicts we can see. Maybe the readme, but if it goes in source, we should be all right. Okay, so I think I've now got all that code in. Let's have a look. And what was it called? Wheel of Success, is that what it calls? Yeah, Wheel of Success. So I'm going to be lazy and just call it was. And we had the index.html, right? So that was. We had a readme, which is probably not necessary anymore, right? Get rid of that. We had, what else do we have, guys? The images, and we had a CSS file as well. Is it index.css? Is that it? No, that's. Am I missing things still? CSS and images, they didn't get copied over, right? Not liking it. Annoying. We'll do it the old way then. Don't want it in images, but hey. Let's do was.css. And our last one that we had was our two image files. Go on, just work. Yeah, alright. So now we should have everything we need. So I can get rid of that one. And we just got one project. Okay, first steps. Any ideas? Import and export what and into where? Yeah, so this is currently my JavaScript code for the whole app.
So we need to import React.
Do we need to import React? Does this code depend on React? It was running fine a minute ago without using React, so I don't think we need to import React into that one.
Well, we at least need to export the CSS file into
Yeah. So let's say I want to display it just in my app.js, yeah? So the CSS file we had was .css, yeah? Yeah, all right, we can keep it separate. Let's keep it separate. So my first step would be to wrap all of this in a JavaScript function. It's like this. There's many ways to do it, but let's say we want our whole game to just be a JavaScript component. Yeah? So if you can see with the Tetris one, fair enough, with this we did use a class-based component, and we might find out that we might need a class-based component as well for the other game, for the Wheel of Success game. Yeah, so, all right, we could set it up like that. But if we were in doubt, then to begin with, we could just do function wheel of success. Essentially return everything, right? That's what we could do. But we got some DOM manipulation here. So if I wanted to wrap it all right, let's do it and then we'll encounter the errors and then we'll fix them. It's easier if you can see the errors first. I'll leave those there for now. What's it complaining about? Oh. Well, let's just fix any syntax errors first. So did I copy and paste it wrong? I think I got everything right.
Maybe it didn't like this.
Hmm? So yeah, I think then it's going to be better to do it this way, because essentially we don't want to return the whole thing, do we? We only want to return the stuff that we want to render on the page, which is going to be in our HTML. All right, we just want to return some JSX, yeah, if it's a JavaScript component. So what should we start with? Should we start with the JSX first or start with the JavaScript? Doesn't really matter, right? So let's set it up like this. Class-based component, what do we need? render, and a return. Yeah. So firstly, what do we want to return? Well, we want to return whatever is in the HTML, yeah? And we have to change it slightly, but I'll just copy it all over for now. Not Tetris, let's get rid of Tetris for now. That one, right? Okay. So we don't need any of this, right? HTML, head. The meta is going to go somewhere else and it's just part of another app, so don't need that. We're going to import the style sheet. We've already got a body. So instead, let's give our main container maybe as something like that. Was game. I think that's good. And then we will finish it off by taking out the HTML, the body, the script. And I've just now got to match up my divs. I should have counted how many I took out. Let's see what that one is. That one is not highlighted. So does that mean I've got one too few? That one, that one, that one, that one. What's that? One more? Really? Yeah, I know, but I just auto completed it, so it was. Oh, let's go back and I'll count this time. So I took out the HTML, the head, the meta, the head. Okay, that's fine. So then everything down to the body. And everything to the script. So is it issue with these? How many of these do we need? So we just need a parentheses, a curly brace, and a curly brace. Parentheses, curly brace, curly brace. Which is what we had. Body has no closing tag. I thought I got rid of body. Extra. Okay, let's go all the way back to when it was working. Weird, right? So now we just got HTML. Okay, so let's take off both HTMLs. I think that's fine. So maybe it was just complaining about class rather than class name, I'm not sure. So I can take out the whole head, right? And I can take out the body. I'll leave the script for now, but we'll delete it. Oops, we'll delete it in a second. Now delete the whole thing. So we've got a render, and then we want a return. Expression expected. So it's not complaining anymore, right? Apart from the one parent element, which should be fixed by. Okay, I don't know what I did there, so apologies for that delay. Semicolon. It's not the most important thing at the moment, but thank you, Nilofa. Still need that one, right? How do I just go back one? That's annoying. It's shifty, is it? Oh no. That's what I'm pressing, yeah. No, I'll just do it again. So the last one was on line 50. Okay, when we get to line 50, I will. Okay. Alright then. Should we at least see whether that's rendering something first? Obviously the game's not going to work, but will it be rendering something on the page? So, we had the suggestion of we need to export default. Let's just display it at the bottom of our app. So we need the import statement as well, yeah? Import.
Oh, the whole file.
Huh?
The whole file is citrus.
No, I'm doing it now, yeah? Import.
Oh, right.
Yeah? Well, I'm leaving Tetris there for now, it's fine.
Oh.
Okay, so we've imported that one. And then let's just stick it at the end, right? So yeah, just to display it in our app, all we need to do is render the component. Yeah? If that component is returning something inside of its render method, it should then draw that to the DOM. So all of these divs should then get drawn to the DOM. Whether they will display what we want it to display is another thing. Images must have an alt prop. Here you go, Vince, look after your alts.
Then we call the class, we should call it WS.
Huh?
The class is called Wheel of Success instead of WS.
The class is called Wheel of Success. That doesn't matter at this stage, right? We're not applying the styles yet. Because it's a default, right? It doesn't matter what we call it at this stage. Okay. Yeah, so don't forget your alt props. Yeah, Vince, when you go through and write this again. And then we want to.
Oh yeah, you commented
Yeah, so the rest of the code is causing the issue at the moment. Yeah, but we'll get that working in a second. That's the actual JavaScript code. Have I closed my component up there? Yeah. So if I comment all that, we should be good, right? Okay, so we're getting something rendered to the page, yeah? It's obviously not styled the way we want, but we're getting something rendered to the page. Okay, to import the stylings, how did we do that? What did we call it? I think WAS, did we? Or I forget now. Yep. Capital WOS. Nice. Hey, okay. So the JavaScript code is not running yet, so when I click on here, probably nothing's going to happen, yeah? But the elements are being displayed on the page. In fact, that's all that's being displayed on the page at the moment. So it's overwritten all of Ewan's work. So Ewan's portfolio is now gone. Yeah, there must be some setting in there. Let's see. You set it as an overlay, so it's on top of everything, is it? Yeah. Cool. Anyway, that's fine for now. We can sort that out later. I just wanted to show you that we've now taken some HTML code and reactified it. Yeah. So all we did was write a new class, and inside the return function, return the JSX, which is essentially the HTML with just class changed to class name, and then imported that CSS. We then pick the component that we want to display it within. In our case, it was the app.js. Import that file at the top, and then our equivalent, I guess, of doing that on the back end is now just putting the component name, yeah? And that will render the component. That will call the render function of our class, yeah? So that bit gets called and displays everything on the page. So they're roughly equivalent, right? They're producing the same sort of effect. Okay, now for the tricky part, I guess. Let's see if we can get this JavaScript code working as well. So firstly, let's keep it in the same file, and then we can refactor it into a different file as well if we want for extra practice. Okay, so the question is really, where are these things going to go? So our global variables, where will we put those? So the functions, I think, are fairly easy, right? We can just have them as methods. That's still a function. The event handlers, yeah, where would we put the event handlers? So if we just run those event handlers initially, and we're trying to add an event listener to the reset button, so that's our reset button. So if that code ran initially, do you foresee any problems?
Probably won't find anything.
It won't find anything, exactly, yeah. I mean, this code here needs to run after the DOM has drawn, yeah, after the render function has drawn all of these elements. Otherwise, they don't yet exist. So to have it as one massive component to begin with, before you break it down, just to check that we can get things working, we could set these perhaps inside of the component did mount. Yeah. Let mist equal 0. Where's that going to go? Yes, we could stick all those in there. Suggestions for the next step? Where do we want to put our functions? Not quite sure where that mist is being used yet, but we will find out. Do you remember the flow, Vince? Like, does anything depend on anything else, or?
They're all separate, so.
Yeah.
Some of them probably become methods because they need to access those variables. Although, are we keeping the variables outside the class instead of as a part of the state?
Are we keeping the variables? What?
The constant variables like reset button and stuff. Are we going to keep that outside the class definition? Just on
Oh, so you wanted to just stick it in the file directly, have them globally?
Yeah, define them and then give them the values, and then we'll run the functions.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, or we could put them into state, and then we'll put all the functions into methods, and then they'll be checking state and stuff.
I want to try and do as minimal possible changes to begin with, just to get it working. If it takes too long, we'll have to do it into part 2, right? And we'll just finish it off another day. But yeah, I just wanted to show you how to import an external HTML and CSS file and then turn it into a React component essentially. Maybe there are a few more parts than I anticipated. So the functions themselves can at least go outside of the class, yeah? I think. Unless they reference anything inside. I think they're okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, most of it's functions, right? Yeah, so the event handlers I'll stick in the component did mount again, yeah. Stick them underneath. Reset button is not defined.
Above the class or something. And then initialize them in the class.
Where's your start? Oh, that's your button there, isn't it? Button reset. Yeah, I might, because it's taking a long time, I might abandon it for now, and then I'd look at the code a little bit more, just to double check where we need each thing. Yeah.
Just quickly fix it up.
What do you want to do?
I could try to set it so that it just works. So I think we could move all those constants. Try.
All these constants you want? Yeah, go on. Yeah, if you want.
All we have is we put these over here, And we can just set them to
You've got some
nothing.
other globals as well that I haven't yet included.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're just going to initialize it?
Yeah, and then in there we'll put. Right, mystical. Okay. Right, what are we missing here? Okay. So we have these set up. We're gonna just get rid of this stuff. Where's home? Could
Control D on it.
yeah. Delete. Oops. Okay, so we get that set up. And over here we'll probably want to put these event listeners.
See what it's complaining about.
Constant overlay, unexpected token. Oh, do we have to initialize these to something? I reckon if we do that as let, it'll be fine. Okay, yeah. Phrase bank. Get random phrase bank. So where is this coming from?
Yeah, so they're the
I
globals
see.
that we haven't yet set, so we need to set those ones.
Maybe this will work.
Done everything yet? Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
Has it moved down there? Yeah, okay. So
Ugh,
nothing's good. So that we reference the images correctly?
oh,
Because now they're probably in different file locations.
yeah, images lost hearts.
Yeah, so is that in the correct location?
Source
Put
images.
them in there.
Lost heart. That seems to be fine. Oh, it'd be like that, I suppose. Do we have anything else we look at here? Ugh. I did it again. Okay, what are these images? What is this trying to load? It's trying to go to images live heart. So, but it's not loading it correctly. Do we have to do that part again? Well, nope. Five hearts. Set attribute source. Hearts missed. Button.
So far we've got our global set up, we've got our elements grabbed, we've got event listeners set up.
You're getting all the buttons. Did you want to put any other buttons?
Yeah.
All the buttons, all the URLs.
Maybe we should have put it on its own route so it wasn't conflicting.
These query selectors would just grab everything.
Yeah, of course they will, yeah. And then all our functions. So all our functions just underneath at the moment.
Okay, phrase. The linter is looking a bit weird here. The functions have a weird color.
So the first one's alright, but after that.
Just want to see what it looks like normally if we just put it at the top. So the lints colors it correctly, but when we go back down here, everything's white and light blue. I mean, I guess we could put all the functions and stuff above here just to I feel that would just do nothing much to
Live coding at its finest, guys. Things going on. No, I'm not blaming you, okay? Abdul's just watching something else. I was counting on you, Abdul, to offer the solution to this one. Let's just stop the YouTube feed anyway.